My parents practically begged me to slim down for my younger sister Chloe's wedding. But once I finally did, they couldn't stand the fact that I actually looked better than her. Growing up, I was always an overweight child. In kindergarten, while others were learning their ABCs, I was already learning how to avoid the swings that creaked under my weight. I wasn't just bigger, I was the big kid, the one everyone remembered. The older I got, the worse it became. By high school, I wasn't just overweight, I was massive. My thighs rubbed holes in every pair of jeans, and my school photo looked like I'd eaten the cheerleading squad. I didn't need to wear a name tag. My body did the introducing for me. College? Same movie, different campus. While everyone else was discovering passions and wild new hairstyles, I was still the girl hiding behind oversized hoodies and hoping no one asked me to squeeze into a group selfie. I wasn't exploring myself. I was surviving myself. Being the fat girl wasn't just hard, it was a daily battlefield. People didn't even bother whispering their insults. I'd get shouted from passing cars, and strangers would offer diet tips like they were doing me a public service. It didn't matter who I was inside. To them, I was just a walking weight problem. I was bullied more times than I can count. My classmates didn't tease. They tormented. Every lunch period was a gamble. Would someone throw food at me or moo as I walked by? I became the go-to punchline. The girl whose pain was everyone else's entertainment. My self-worth crushed before I even learned how to spell the word. I was always that girl, the one people conveniently forgot to invite. I watched from the sidelines like some ghost, observing the messy, vibrant chaos of teenage life while being completely shut out of it. To them, I wasn't just different, I was disposable, unlovable. Like friendship and affection had some entry fee I couldn't afford. The bullying carved deep into how I saw myself. I didn't just feel out of place, I felt like I didn't belong on this planet. So I disappeared into books. Pages became my escape route. Fiction never mocked my body or asked me why I couldn't run a mile. Novels were the only place where someone like me mattered. People called me the brain, but not in a flattering way, more like a consolation prize for being undateable. I didn't want to be known as the weird loner who knew all the answers. I just wanted to matter without being mocked. My younger sister Chloe was everything I wasn't. Just a year behind me in school, but light years ahead in charm. She had this magnetic presence. Walk into any room and people would orbit around her like she was the sun. Me? I was the awkward shadow trailing behind. Chloe could crack a joke, flip her hair, and boom, she had a crowd. Teachers adored her. Boys lined up for her attention. She didn't just charm people, she owned them. And no matter how much I wanted to hate her for it, I couldn't. I worshipped her. I was her big sister after all. That meant something. Or so I thought. Despite our differences, I loved her fiercely. When she joined me at Jefferson High, I thought, finally, we'll bond. I imagined protecting her, sharing secrets. I wore my title of older sister like armor. It made me feel like I belonged to someone even if no one else wanted me. But that dream cracked fast. Chloe found her crowd. Cool, loud, beautiful people. I watched as she started noticing the gap between us, the way the world bent toward her and barely looked my way. She began to act like my existence was an inconvenience. I was the shy, anxious girl in the back row. She was the laughing sparkle in every hallway. Chloe learned quickly that my awkwardness was social kryptonite. My quirks weren't cute, they were embarrassing. And she started avoiding me like I was contagious. Eventually, she stopped pretending. She ignored me in hallways, turned her back at lunch. She didn't want a sister, she wanted a reputation. And clearly, I didn't fit the aesthetic. It stung worse than any classmate's joke. I tried to tell myself it was just high school, that she needed space. But deep down, I knew I wasn't just losing a sister, I was losing the only friend I thought I might ever have. Soon, she wasn't just ignoring me, she was part of the abuse. Her new clique treated me like the school's running joke, and Chloe played along. They'd laugh as I waddled by with my lunch tray, even tried tripping me once in front of half the cafeteria. She wasn't just watching the bullying now. She was leading it. It wasn't just classmates anymore. I had to dodge cruelty at home too. Chloe had joined the ranks of people who made me feel small. It was like the world had turned on me, and even my sister had picked opposite side. At home, it was worse. When Chloe had friends over, they'd storm into my room uninvited like it was some freak show. One pointed at my thighs and asked if they came with airbags. Another called me Shrek in glasses. They'd howl with laughter. I wasn't her sister anymore. I was her punchline, her show-and-tell nightmare. Every time they barged into my room uninvited, laughing and pointing at me, I felt like I didn't belong. Not in that room, not in that house, not even in my own skin. I was a stranger in what was supposed to be my sanctuary. I begged my parents to see it, to hear me, to understand that Chloe wasn't just teasing, she was tearing me apart. But every time I tried, they'd wave me off with a smile like I was being dramatic. That's just how sisters show love, they'd say, or worse. You're too sensitive. Lighten up. As if daily humiliation was some sort of inside joke I hadn't been let in on. They reminded me I was the older one. As if that made me automatically responsible for tolerating cruelty. Grow thicker skin, my dad once said, sipping coffee like he hadn't just told his daughter to ignore emotional abuse. I wasn't just getting bullied at school. I was being gaslit at home. My pain was invisible because it didn't fit into the version of the family they wanted to believe in. I felt invisible. Not even the people who were supposed to know me best saw how much it broke me. I learned to cry quietly, behind locked doors, into pillows, or not at all. The only thing that ever made them light up around me? My report cards. Straight A's were my only ticket to their approval. I clung to academics like a life raft. School was the one place I could shine, where numbers and letters didn't care what I looked like. If I couldn't be beautiful, I could at least be brilliant. Their eyes only lit up for me when they could brag about me at dinner parties. Our daughter's top of her class, my mom would boast, like I was a trophy she dusted off for guests. To them, my GPA was a reflection of their success, not mine. I wasn't a daughter. I was a stat they flaunted. Chloe hated it. She didn't want to compete in the academic arena. She ruled the social one. But being compared to me drove her mad. Every time our parents used me as the golden standard, Chloe's smile got tighter. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" they'd ask, not seeing how it poured fuel on the fire between us. I saw it building in her, the resentment. It simmered beneath her perfect hair and painted nails. And soon, it boiled over. Chloe started sabotaging me in secret. She'd sneak into my room at night and steal my finished assignments, always the ones due the next morning. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, papers gone. My heart would pound as I tore my room apart in a frenzy, praying I hadn't just lost 30% of my final grade. And there she was, leaning against the doorframe, sipping orange juice with that smug little smirk. She knew what she'd done, and she loved it. It was her way of saying, "You might have straight A's, but I still have the power." She wanted me to feel small, helpless, human. She knew grades were my lifeline, and she cut it, just to watch me drown. That kind of cruelty doesn't come from ignorance. It comes from knowing exactly where to hurt. Years later at a family dinner, Chloe got tipsy and let it slip. "Remember when you lost that essay in senior year?" "Yeah, that was me." She laughed. I didn't. We've grown up since then. The fights have faded, and we exchange polite texts now and then. But we're not close. We never healed, just outgrew the screaming. I packed my bags the moment I graduated. A new city, a new job, and a chance to finally breathe. I didn't look back much. Why would I? Over time, we became the kind of family that only sent happy birthday texts and forgot to call on holidays. And honestly, that was fine by me. But last summer, something in me wanted to reconnect. I hadn't seen them in ages, and some part of me, probably the foolish, hopeful part, missed them. I wish I could say it was heartwarming, that we laughed and cried and healed old wounds. At first, the lunch started okay, but of course it didn't stay that way. When I first walked in, everyone acted thrilled to see me. For a moment, I let myself believe things had changed. That illusion shattered fast. Chloe suddenly stood up with a dramatic gasp and flashed a diamond ring like she was in a rom-com. "Surprise, I'm engaged," she beamed. We all blinked, confused. Was this a joke? But no, the sparkle in her eyes matched the one on her hand. I smiled and told her the ring was stunning, and I meant it. I was genuinely happy for her. I was truly glad she'd found love. But just as the applause quieted down, Chloe locked eyes with me. "So big, sis," she said. "What's going on in your life?" I started sharing about my job, how fulfilling it was, how I finally felt like I was doing something meaningful. I hadn't even finished my second sentence before she interrupted. "Not to be rude," she said with a smirk that screamed exactly that, "but if your life is so great, why are you still, well, fat?" Her eyes slid down my body like I was a before picture in some diet ad. It felt like someone ripped open scars I thought had finally healed. The room went dead silent. All eyes on me, waiting for my reaction like it was some twisted reality show. I gave a weak laugh and muttered something like, "Guess I've been busy," though the words tasted like dust. I could feel the heat creeping up my face, and not in a good way. Then my parents jumped in like this was a planned intervention. "You know," my dad said, "we do worry you'll be alone forever." My mom nodded and sighed. "Still overweight, no boyfriend. It's not looking good, sweetheart." I sat there stunned. None of my success mattered to them. Not my career, not my independence, not even the fact that I was finally happy. All they saw was a number on a scale and an empty ring finger. To them, I wasn't successful, I was unfinished, incomplete. A woman-shaped void waiting to be filled by a man and a diet plan. Chloe leaned in and asked, "So, do you even have a boyfriend?" Her voice dripping with fake curiosity. My parents chuckled along like it was all just lighthearted fun. Meanwhile, I was dying inside. I had worked so hard to build a life I loved, one not based on size or marital status. And yet, there I was again, 17 all over, tongue-tied, shrinking in my seat, hoping they'd finally see me and say, "You're enough." They didn't. Instead, they praised Chloe like she was royalty. So mature, settling down before her older sister, my mom beamed. "You've made us so proud." And me? I was the backup dancer to her spotlight moment. What started as a reunion quickly morphed into a roast, with me as the punchline. Sitting at that table, I felt more like an outsider than I ever had before. Chloe wasn't done. She leaned in again, voice sugary sweet. "So, when's your big day? Or are you still focusing on yourself?" She knew exactly what she was doing, mocking me in front of our family, reducing my worth to a relationship status. And of course, my parents echoed her. "You're not getting any younger," my dad said. "It's time to start thinking seriously," my mom added, as if I hadn't spent a decade doing just that. "Chloe's younger and already engaged," they reminded me, again. "You're older and still playing career girl. Don't let life pass you by." I tried to push back. Told them I loved my job, that I was happy, that fulfillment didn't have to come with a husband and a baby. But they didn't hear me. They were too busy mourning my empty uterus. "I am happy," I said louder this time. It bounced off the walls like a whisper. No one acknowledged it. My mom shot me a cold stare and said, "What's the point of all that money if you eat dinner alone every night?" The sentence hit me harder than I care to admit. To her, my life wasn't complete, just sad, empty. She couldn't comprehend that I had chosen it. and loved it. I felt invisible. Again. Like all the growth I'd done, the independence I'd fought for, none of it mattered. Because I didn't fit their idea of what a happy woman looked like. This was supposed to be my family, the people who knew me best. But sitting there, it was clear we weren't even speaking the same emotional language. To them, happiness came in a very narrow, picture-perfect box. I came home hoping for connection, maybe even healing. Instead, I walked straight into a firing squad, dressed up as a family dinner. That's when Chloe turned to me with a grin that could cut glass. I expect you to at least have a +1 by the time my wedding rolls around? She chuckled and kept going. I don't want people thinking my sister is some old miserable woman all alone while I'm getting married. Her words landed like a slap, but I smiled stiffly and nodded. Sure, I'll see what I can do, I said, even though I wanted to scream. Then my parents chimed in like they were doing me a favor. You've got almost a year before Chloe's big day. Even if you're still single, at least try to look better. Lose a few pounds, be presentable. It might help you find someone, my dad added, like he was giving me stock market advice. Men are visual, honey. Chloe clapped her hands like it was settled. Exactly. Just tone up a bit. I mean, you'll be in photos next to me. I'm trying to save you from embarrassment. I sat frozen, the same ache from high school returning full force, like I was 17 again and hiding in the bathroom stall at lunch. How did this become acceptable? Was being overweight a free pass for them to treat me like I was less than human? Did they think my size made me immune to pain? That I didn't deserve kindness unless I earned it through calories burned? I never saw my weight as a handicap until they made me wear it like a scarlet letter. I'd had relationships. Men had loved me, just as I was. But my family acted like my weight was some kind of force field, repelling any potential romance. I wanted to shout, to tell them how cruel they sounded, but I sat there paralyzed. The words wouldn't come. Just shame, swelling like a wave in my throat. Suddenly, I was back in the locker room, towel-wrapped and terrified, as girls whispered and giggled behind me. The same humiliation all over again. What I hated most wasn't what they said. It was how easily they said it, like my body was public property, like my hurt was background noise. So I swallowed the lump in my throat and smiled through it, letting the conversation drift somewhere safer. But something snapped in me after that trip. I didn't just want to lose weight. I needed to. Not for them, but to reclaim some power they had stripped from me. What started as revenge-fueled motivation evolved into something more sacred. It became mine. I signed up for a gym the day after I got back, cleaned out my fridge, hired a no-nonsense personal trainer named Maya, who didn't let me make excuses. Maya wasn't just tough. She got it. She'd been where I was. She knew how to push me without breaking me. She built a program just for me, and she never let me forget my why. Fall forward, she'd say. You don't need to be perfect, just consistent. I started to believe her. For the first time, it clicked. The weight began to drop, and with it, the fog in my head. I was finally breathing again, living again. For the first time in forever, I looked in the mirror and didn't flinch. My confidence grew faster than my waistline was shrinking. I used to think losing weight wouldn't change anything except my dress size. I was wrong. People treated me like I'd been reborn. Strangers smile at me more. Waiters make eye contact. My coworkers ask for my opinion like it suddenly matters. I hated that it worked. But it did. As messed up as it is, I felt validated in a way I never had. It was like I had finally been granted permission to exist. I tossed every baggy hoodie and oversized tee. Rebuilt my wardrobe with pieces I used to only admire on mannequins. Now they fit me, and they fit me. I went bold, bleached my hair, chopped it short. For once, I wasn't trying to disappear. I wanted to be seen. Maybe the clothes, the hair, the gym membership, maybe it all cost more than I should have spent. But when I look in the mirror now, I meet someone new. someone I never knew I could be. A version of me that looks back without shame. I'm proud, not just of the pounds I've lost, but of the power I've reclaimed. For the first time in my life, I walk into a room and don't try to disappear. Chloe's wedding was 2 weeks away, and suddenly, the family wanted me to fly back home for a lunch to finalize plans. Yeah, right. I didn't want to go. Not because I was scared, because I finally felt good. And I didn't want to risk them stripping that away from me again. Not after all I'd fought for. The truth? I didn't want to go to Chloe's wedding at all. Not after everything they'd said. Not after the years of being treated like the family embarrassment. But I knew what would happen if I bailed. The guilt trips, the angry calls, the inevitable family means everything lecture, like I hadn't spent my whole life being treated like I meant nothing. Being the fat kid wrecked my self-worth. Every mirror, every cruel joke, every time someone looked through me, I internalized all of it. I genuinely believed I wasn't good enough. And I'm thinking about showing up. Just walking in and letting the silence speak for itself. No announcement, no warning, just boom. I want to see their faces. Just once, I want them to be speechless. I figured, if they pushed me to lose weight, they should at least see the outcome. I wanted them to feel it. The work, the discipline, the change. They were the ones who made me feel like I had to do this in the first place. So now, they could sit back and witness what they created. Or so I thought. I walked through the door and it was like a movie. My dad dropped his fork. My mom gasped. You could have heard a pin drop. Is that really you? My mom asked, squinting like I was a ghost. I just smiled and hugged them both. I won't lie. It felt good. They went on and on about how unbelievable I looked, like I had been abducted and replaced by a better version. But then Chloe walked in. She didn't even glance at me. Just strutted past like I was part of the wallpaper, just like old times. Then I stood up. Her eyes nearly popped out of her head. She let out this awkward little laugh, walked up to me, and poked my stomach. Wait, is this real? She asked, like I was made of foam. My parents chuckled nervously and said, yeah, we couldn't believe it either. Like I wasn't even in the room. We sat down to eat, and suddenly I was the main course. They bombarded me with questions. What did you eat? Did you do surgery? Is this keto or what? Like I was some kind of science experiment. They kept gawking at me like I was some rare exhibit in a gallery. Their voices were filled with shock, like they never imagined I had it in me to not look like a cautionary tale. Chloe just couldn't stop repeating herself. I mean, wow, I didn't think you'd actually pull it off. Like I was some kind of underdog who accidentally got hot. And then she said it, loud enough for everyone to hear. When I told you to lose weight, I never thought you'd end up this pretty. Like, you actually have a jawline. And ankles? Who knew? I took a breath, forced a smile and said, Chloe, I've always been beautiful. The weight just hit it. You weren't looking close enough. She narrowed her eyes and tilted her head. Okay, but like, really? Did you get something done? Like surgery? Because there's no way this is just you. My blood went hot. She really believed I needed a surgeon's help just to be considered attractive? After everything I did, every rep, every meal, every drop of sweat? I locked eyes with her and said, damn, Chloe. Kinda wild how low your opinion of me still is. No surgery, just dedication and self-respect. You might want to look into that. Her face shifted. All that fake surprise curdled into a scowl. But I didn't flinch. For once I had the upper hand, and it felt so damn good. But before Chloe could even clap back, my parents jumped in like referees in a fight no one asked for. Don't get upset, my mom said. It's just, none of us have ever seen you look like this. Honestly, you look better than Chloe, and she's the one getting married. Chloe's face went pale, then red. Her jaw clenched so tight I thought her teeth might crack. I sipped my water and kept chewing like nothing had happened. Let her boil. Then my mom threw in a curveball. You know what? Maybe it's time to go back to brunette. This blonde is a bit much. You'd look more yourself again. It's just, this hair makes you stand out a lot, she added, like that was a crime. Wouldn't hurt to tone it down a bit. Chloe nodded aggressively, clearly grateful for the backup. Then Dad chimed in. Yeah, I mean, Chloe's always been the blonde one. You were the brunette. It just fits better, you know? I froze. For a second, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't just Chloe anymore. It was all of them, trying to shove me back into the box I'd broken free from. My stylist had told me the blonde suited my complexion, not because I was trying to upstage anyone, especially not Chloe. I understood Chloe's jealousy. For once, the attention wasn't hers. But why were my parents acting like I'd broken some unspoken family rule? They pushed me to change, to shrink, to tone down. But now that I had, they wanted to rewind it all, as if the old me was easier to control. I wasn't the fat, invisible girl anymore, and apparently that made everyone uncomfortable. Instead of celebrating my growth, they were busy trying to undo it. I put down my fork and looked them dead in the eye. Why can't I be blonde? Is that patented by Chloe now? Does she own hair color? No, she doesn't, I continued, and I'll wear whatever shade I want. Why are you so obsessed with stuffing me back into the before version of myself? I couldn't wrap my head around it. Why were they so desperate to rewind my evolution? Was the new me too inconvenient for their narrative? My mom actually rolled her eyes and said I was trying to upstage Chloe, that my glow-up was some kind of sabotage, as if existing confidently was an attack. Chloe sneered. You've already lost a ton of weight. Isn't that enough? Did you really have to steal my hair color too? Like I'd raided her identity. My dad backed them up like always. You're being difficult, he said flatly. This is your sister's time. Be supportive instead of trying to compete. I was stunned. This wasn't about stealing attention. It was about finally doing something for me. But they couldn't celebrate that. They were too busy worrying about how Chloe might feel next to me. I put my fork down, stared at all three of them, and said, You know what? I'm done. You're all so wrapped up in your own bitterness, you can't even admit I've changed. I've always been worthy. You just never saw it. And now that I've become someone even I'm proud of, it's still not enough. It will never be enough for you. They stared at me like I'd slapped them. I didn't care. I was done shrinking myself for their comfort. Since you all love dishing out opinions, maybe it's time I return the favor. I turned to my mom. Let's start with you. That saggy skin around your eyes? The way your mouth slants when you fake smile? You should be grateful people look past your crooked teeth, because I sure can't. Then I shifted to my dad. And you're bald. Maybe don't lecture me about hair color when you can't even keep your own scalp covered. You want to comment on appearances? Try growing your hair back first. His face went stone cold, but I wasn't done. Finally, I turned to Chloe. And you, don't ever talk down to me again. You always thought you were the prettier sister. But now that I've slimmed down, you look bigger than me, especially those arms. Yikes. Her face went red. She looked like she might actually cry, for once. I raised my glass, finished it in one smooth gulp, smiled, and walked out, leaving 3 stunned statues behind me. I had finally said it all. I didn't even recognize myself. And for once, that felt like a victory. No regrets. They earned every word. I didn't stick around. I booked the first flight home and left the drama and the wedding behind. My phone lit up with voicemails and guilt texts, none of which I answered. Apparently, I was the disrespectful one, not them, the people who broke me for years. Mom said I had to come back, that it would look bad in front of Chloe's in-laws, as if that was my responsibility. So, I skipped the wedding, and honestly, best decision ever. I booked a last-minute stay at a luxury resort, spa, room service, total bliss. It was perfect. No guilt, no judgment. Just me, a fluffy robe, and zero family toxicity. I got a facial, ate like royalty, watched trashy TV, and wandered through museums I never had time for. It was a weekend of me. I blocked every single number. No more texts, no more calls, no more fake concern. I'm done being their punching bag, done walking on eggshells, done sacrificing peace for family appearances. My only priority now? Me, my joy, my healing, my life, on my terms. Thanks for listening. If you want more real stories like this, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Because trust me, the drama never sleeps.